Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. So Joshua Buatsi gets a 10-round majority gift decision over Zach Parker. Let's talk about it. This was probably the worst performance I've ever seen from Joshua Buatsi, and he's put in several uninspired performances over the course of his career. But here he was going up against a guy in Zach Parker, who got the brakes beat off him by Darrell Williams several years ago and got one of the most insane gift decisions I've ever seen in my life over Williams. In fact, it was such a absurd robbery that Darrell Williams never fought again. He was so disgusted by the judge's decision that night. And then, of course, a couple of years after that, Zach Parker quit against John Ryder. So Buatsi was going up against the guy with limitations, both physically, technically, and psychologically. Zach Parker, I don't think, is the strongest-willed fighter out there. And so when you're going up against someone like that, just like Barry Jones was saying on the commentary, you got to jump on the guy. You got to make him question himself early. You can't allow an unconfident fighter to get confidence during a fight. I think it was Teddy Atlas or somebody connected to the Mike Tyson camp who made a comment similar to that after the Mike Tyson-Buster Douglas fight. They said that Douglas started the fight nervous, but he became confident during the fight. I think they were actually paraphrasing Costamato. But yeah, when you allow an unconfident fighter to gain confidence during a fight through the success he's having, he won't go back to being unconfident during that fight again. So you can't allow him to get that confidence in the first place. Joshua Buatsi allowed Zach Parker to get that confidence. He started ridiculously slow, and he's never been the fastest starter in the world, for the most part anyway, particularly under Virgil Hunter. And we need to talk about Virgil Hunter because there were people, as soon as that link-up happened, that were saying it was a bad move for Joshua Buatsi. And I don't like to be too hasty. I like to give a fighter 2, 3, sometimes 4 fights with a new trainer to see if they gel. But in this instance, I think the people who said that Virgil Hunter wasn't a good fit for Buatsi were bang on from day one. Hunter has taken away Buatsi's instinctive style that he had in the amateurs and early on in the pros. He's got him to be far too methodical, thinking too much, trying to be too neat and tidy. He's taken away the core of what Joshua Buatsi was. I'm not saying that's the only reason he was so poor in this fight, by the way, because he beat Willie Hutchinson a few fights back. And Hutchinson, for me, is like a better version of Zach Parker. Slick guy, switch hitter, moves a lot. But I think Willie Hutchinson is more talented than Zach Parker, and I think he's got a bigger heart than Zach Parker. So, again, just to be fair, Buatsi did beat him under Virgil Hunter. But here against Zach Parker, he allowed Parker to get into a rhythm early, allowed him to get confident, and Parker maintained that rhythm and maintained that confidence for the 10 rounds. For my money, Parker was well ahead. Certainly, Carl Frampton saw it that way as well on the DAZN broadcast, although the fans who were watching the fight apparently had it a lot closer. I thought Zach Parker was boxing Buatsi's head off for the most part. Buatsi didn't show any urgency until about maybe round 6 or 7. And again, it's a 10-rounder. Why are you waiting until round 6 or 7 to get started? Ridiculous. And when Buatsi did get started, his work was not particularly effective. He did land some nice body shots, especially I think it might have been in round 7, but he didn't maintain it for subsequent rounds. And Zach Parker was able to get back on his bike, keep it moving, pot shotting here and there. Virgil Hunter was calling for Buatsi to show some urgency, but his feet seemed stuck in the mud. His timing was off. He didn't look very sharp. He just lacked energy somehow. At the final bell, Zach Parker put his hands up like a man who was absolutely certain he was going to get the decision. I think most fans felt that way. I certainly felt that way. My Element Group members felt that way. So when the scorecards were read out, one had it a draw. That was a surprise in itself. The other two scored a winner. I was thinking it's surely Parker. But no, it was Buatsi. Absolutely shocking. Bear in mind, this was Joshua Buatsi's first fight under Queensbury. Queensbury, I'm sure, want to make Joshua Buatsi versus Anthony Yard. If Joshua Buatsi had lost there, could you still make that fight? Now, I'm not suggesting that Queensbury have done anything untoward here. I don't want to get sued. But you do wonder whether the judges on any show, with any promoter, kind of read the room and decide to score things in favor of the house fighter because they want to keep getting work on these shows. I'm trying to be careful here, folks. Zach Parker understandably was disgusted by the decision. He left the ring without being interviewed. And not that it's Zach Parker's fault that he got a gift decision over Darrell Williams all those years ago, but now he knows how Darrell Williams feels. Don't get it twisted, this robbery was nowhere near as bad as the Darrell Williams robbery. That was far worse than this decision, trust me. But this decision was bad enough, so now Zach Parker knows how that feels. Again, not like it was his fault. The judges do what they do. It's nothing to do with the fighters. Joshua Buatsi during his post-fight interview was booed by the crowd, and he just seemed far too casual about the whole thing. Buatsi's always had kind of a laid-back demeanor in interviews, but here even more so. He had the demeanor of a guy who just popped to the fridge at midnight to make himself a sandwich. That's how casual he was. Now, some people are wondering what the Callum Smith fight took out of him. Maybe it took something, but as I said earlier on, I think he needs to switch trainers. I don't think Virgil Hunter's good for him. I haven't recommended this trainer for many fighters in the past, but I reckon it might be a decent trial for Joshua Buatsi if he wants to try out with this guy, Tony Sims. Because Buatsi needs to let his damn hands go. He's far better when he's throwing in combination, when he's being hyper-aggressive. When he's standing off trying to box, that's just not his game. He's never going to be good at that. He's been trying to do that, to some extent under Virgil Hunter, for several years now. It's not working. So for my money, no, he needs to hook up maybe or do a trial with someone like a Tony Sims. I know Tony Sims is more associated with Matchroom, but I don't think all his fighters are Matchroom fighters. I think there might be one or two Queensberry guys. Well, Daniel Dubois, for example, is just hooked up with Tony Sims. Apparently anyway. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed, but there's certainly been talk behind the scenes that Dubois is now with Tony Sims. And he's a Queensberry fighter. So yeah, I'd say Buatsi trial with Tony Sims, get his cardio up to the next level and just become more focused on being offensive, letting them hands go. Carl Frampton, who was scoring the fight for DAZN, said that based on that performance, he thinks Buatsi's finished. He might be right. Again, going back to the Callum Smith thing, maybe Callum Smith just punched all the fight out of him. That can happen. It's like an extreme example I'm going to give you here, but when Joe Calzaghe fought Jeff Lacey, he literally punched all of the fight out of Lacey. When I say all of the fight, I mean for his entire career. Lacey was finished after that fight. He ruined him overnight, Joe Calzaghe. Punched every ounce of fight that guy had in him out. And maybe Callum Smith, in not such an extreme way, did something similar to Joshua Buatsi. Maybe just punched all the fight out of him. Because Buatsi took a hell of a beating in that fight. People talk about it being fight of the year. I thought Callum Smith won it pretty comfortably, to be honest. Yeah, there were a few moments where Buatsi came back a little bit, but I thought Callum Smith was well on top in that fight and was doing by far the more damaging work. So yeah, we'll see, I guess. But let me know what you guys thought about this fight between Joshua Buatsi and Zach Parker. Do you think it was a very poor decision as I did? Or perhaps you thought it was a fair decision. Maybe you thought that the commentary was influencing a lot of people in the wrong direction, skewing our perception of what we were seeing. Maybe there are some people who are going to tell us you need to watch the fight with the sound off and you'll see it was a lot closer than you thought it was watching live. Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Are you surrounded by mindless bots in human form who adhere to the norm and blindly conform? Who swallow all the mainstream BS and actually ridicule you for questioning things? Do you wish you had more free-thinking individuals in your life to network and converse with? Well, look no further. We're right here. Come and join the Brotherhood of Reason on Patreon. You'll gain access to my weekly topical content where we take deep dives on an endless variety of subjects, as well as my vast back catalogue of podcasts, videos, interviews, movie decodings, and my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You'll also get to talk and network with myself and hundreds of other people in our members chat. You can enjoy all this via the Patreon app or on desktop and download all my podcasts in high-quality MP3. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store, or simply visit patreon.com on a web browser. Then head on over to my page and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.